Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of the Retro Rides podcast. I'm Cameron and with me today is Rich Fowler. How are you, Rich?
Good morning, Cam. I'm super, thank you.
Well, guys, we've got a big show for you today. Lots to talk about. There's been a lot going on in the world of auctions. There's been a lot going on in the world of classic car reviews and news. And first, let's go to the news.
Well, in news this week, Cam, the blessed electric vehicle rollback continues.
Alfa
Romeo join Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Volvo and Lotus on rolling back their 2025 targets of being 100% electric, which I think is great. It's a great brand, heritage of making fantastic sounding internal combustion engines. That latest engine that was in that QV, twin turbo V6, what a monster. Let's hope they keep making them.
Yeah, so, 100%. Good news from Alfa Romeo coming to their senses there. And 888 and Ford, big news.
The Ford Motor Company, big news in V8 supercars, have moved to align themselves with Ford Performance. They're going to be the homologation specialists. They're going to run Mustangs. I think it's pretty tough news for the GM fans out there. And I think it's tough for
DJR.
The DJR, who's previously filled that role and kind of been the stalwart Mustang team.
And Rob Herod and people like that have all been involved in that program on and off. Well, more with engines, obviously, with Rob. But just on that, Ford are aligned in F1 now with Red Bull and so on.
Ford
so
powertrains.
It makes sense to be.
It makes sense. And it makes sense for them as an organisation. And I think it's good news for supercars. I think it's good news for Australian motorsport because I think you'll see the 888 team running
a pretty slick operation.
Yeah.
Also, Dick Johnson, the Spirit of Ford Award. That's actually a massive honour. I don't think people really realise what a big deal that is. Previous winners, Sterling Moss, Phil Hill, Jackie Stewart, to win that award from Ford and be presented to, I think Edsel Ford presented the award to him, and Edsel built a relationship with Dick back in the 80s when he was out here running Ford Australia. So congratulations to Dick Johnson. That's fantastic.
It's pretty cool stuff, and I guess that's part of why we like Dick and those guys is that loyalty they've shown to the brands, and we just don't see it today. We're seeing it with 888. Brands have to pivot, companies have to pivot faster than ever before, and it's great to see.
Walkinshaw's been with GM, Ford and now Toyota.
Yeah, so it's great
to... period of about 3 years. And also the Adelaide Motorsport Festival.
Adelaide Motorsport Festival, probably the best festival of its kind in Australia, the closest we sort of have to a rolling motor show or a Goodwood. Thrilled to announce, of course, we're going to be there this year, Cam.
Yeah.
Which is great. They've got an auction coming up.
Lots of number plates, I believe, South Australian plates.
Yeah, heritage auction plates.
They're all just, are they single numeric plates?
Yeah, they're just all numeric plates from South Australia. So that's pretty cool. And of course, they're continuing to thrill us with Grand Prix cars and special guests at that event. Yeah,
there's a lot of famous Formula One drivers there. I think Damon Hill's there this year. So really cool event. There's some innovative technology.
Yeah, we've got some zero fuels. It's a really great mix. Old cars, new cars. You can touch and feel the cars, get up close to them, get some tickets and get amongst it.
I think they're still looking for entries for people to enter their own cars there on display as well. I think they've got an opportunity. If you go to their website, you can enter your own car. So, fantastic event and we're looking forward to that. What else has been going on out there, Rich?
The Canberra Motorsport Festival of Speed, or Canberra Festival of Speed rather, was on a couple of weekends ago in Australia's great capital. A cool little super tight track, but again, just a thrill to see these types of events taking off in these regions. People coming to look at old cars, new cars, get amongst it. So it's cool to see that event continuing to grow.
So on the site this week, Rich, we've seen some fantastic traction with, a video actually on our YouTube channel that Glenn Torrens has done with the team on the EB XR8 Falcon S and the EB XR6S. What a fabulous car that was, a really attractive car, beautiful big Aussie V8 rear-wheel drive.
People love their nostalgia, Cameron.
They do.
I think Glenn, his passion shows through on the video. It's a place in time, it's a time capsule. I'd argue that it wasn't a very good-looking vehicle, Cam, but that's the beauty again of the scene we're in. But I am a fan of the big lazy V8 engine. I am a fan of a manual gearbox in them. almost indestructible, and
in that
cool
S-Pack, that XR car, I really like the look of the EBs. I think they're a great looking Ford, and it's a shame the AU was to come a few years later. That changed things, but fantastic looking car, and
I think they'll look good in race spec. I'll give you that. I think that when Dickie Johnson and John Bower rolled them out in shell colours on the grid, I think they
17 and 18.
But I wasn't particularly enamoured with it. But I'm more of a BMW guy, Cam, as you know.
Well, the ultimate driving machine.
50 years.
50 years of that slogan, which I think was created by an agency in New York back in the 70s. Yeah, what a fantastic, I guess, piece of marketing, really.
Great tagline, ultimate driving machine. Makes you wonder why they haven't stuck with it.
Yeah, I think the story goes that it was created in a restaurant and put on a napkin or a piece of paper or something. And
it's true. You can go to the site and read more about it.
Yeah, Patrick Jackson's written a really nice piece on that, guys, at retrorides.com.au. So check it out.
Go and check that out. And Starley.
Michael Stahl, beautiful couple of rear view pieces there on all sorts of things, but he's done a really nice piece on his 911 as well.
Yeah, you went out to the creek and shot that.
We spent a day with Starley at Eastern Creek, and he's a terrific guy, very knowledgeable, and he's owned this 911 for some years now, and it's his daily driver. Absolutely loves the car. Again, a nice video there on our YouTube channel. So.
Yeah, just go and check it out.
Hammer time.
Okay, folks, it's hammer time, and wow, January has kicked off in a big way in 2025. Chicane Auctions, a pretty good result with the Widowmaker, the 930 Turbo.
Yeah, one of my favourite all-time Porsches, the 930. In fact, in my previous life at collecting cars, back in 2021, I sold a green one, one of 6 original Australian delivered cars, about number 85 worldwide. Not very many right-hand drives were made. 410 that went for. Wow. That was a high watermark and a world record. And the Chicane boys, how much they offload this one for, Cam?
So 205,000. So this car is a UK import, a red car. I believe 13,700 odd original miles. It looked, from the images, a really, really nice car. Look, right in the guide, I think the Chicane guys nailed it. They had their guide set it around that money, and
that's where
it landed. And at the end of the day, the market's changed for some vehicles, and I think someone got a cracking buy at 205,000 for that car.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Obviously, there's always hang-ups on the UK imports and the salt, but at the end of the day, they drive the same, and if you enjoy driving them, it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, 100%. Beautiful car. Also, Chicane, we speculated on this one, the GT barn find, the one owner, 26,000 mile car.
Yeah.
Pretty rough, been sitting around for quite a few years.
Covered in dust, needs a full resto, but apparently checks out in terms of being an original car.
Yeah, apparently. And
you were spot on, Nostradamus.
Well, I did give myself a pretty wide range there, but...
what'd she go for?
She went for 236,000. These prices are excluding any buyer's premiums or anything like that in GST. So they're the hammer price. So, I think a pretty good result for that car too. There'd be probably in need of 100, 150 plus restoration on that car. So.
That's something I'll enjoy. It's got a great story behind it. The barn find thing will just,
Yeah, it had some really unusual features. Scott Newman did a story on the website, and we've done a video.
Too.
Yep, and Scott, by the way, big shout out to you, mate. Doing a little bit tough at the moment with a bit of a cancer battle. So we've also got a link to a GoFundMe page on the website for Scott as well. If you guys feel like you can spare a few bucks, that'd be awesome. But just getting back to this GT, some really unusual little bits and pieces on the motor, and there were a lot of people online speculating about this car, but at the end of the day, it is a very original, a very, very good original car with a lot of documentation, and the owner is still with us. A really good result for him, being an elderly gentleman, so fantastic to see. A GTR R32 at Collecting Cars, 150 grand.
Yeah, JDM scene, and if you like the young timer scene, continues to thrive. We've seen the GTR as a heritage brand in its own. Yeah. Continues to perform. Collecting style one. I thought that was pretty good money. It was a Japanese import, but again, one of these somewhat limited edition Japanese specials, one of 160, but I just think they're a cool thing.
No, they are a cool thing.
Four-wheel drive, plenty of power. people still collecting them.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I think one of those cars with maybe Jim Richards' son is going to the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Jumping around a little bit, but back to the website for a moment. We ran a story this past week on Nissan electrifying an R32, and boy oh boy did that create some controversy online. There's some pretty unhappy people with Nissan over that one. So yeah, it's all good.
EVs continuing to polarise, but Aussie muscle, both Fords and Holdens, new and old, continue to shine. Nice bumblebee coloured FPV.
Yeah, 30 grand. I think this was a bargain, this car. It's a 04 BA GT, an FPV car. I think low K is 26 or so 1,000 kilometres.
Arguably that part of the market hasn't really,
no,
the post-2000
hasn't
Ford
fired.
thing hasn't fired. But as you said, a really nice car for someone. I think someone got a good buy.
Yeah, look, it's an early BA. I think, you know, once they brought in the 6-speed auto into the BA and they did some changes for those BF, that might have been the BF actually, that I think that auto transmission was introduced, and I think that made that a much better car.
Yeah.
I
think people still like the nothing like the Brock of the 70s, the VC.
VC HDT, a gorgeous car, that car. And again, 110 grand.
Yeah, well,
you just can't see that going backwards, really.
No, you can't, and you know they're not making them anymore. Brocky's no longer with us. Again, another cool thing. And on the other end of the spectrum, 100-year-old car.
Yep.
A grand Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost.
A vintage car, which we don't often talk about vintage cars, but yeah, vintage
475, I believe.
75,000, 452 plus buyer's premium. So if you're right, 475.
7.4 litre, straight six, fully optioned, beautifully restored. You don't see many of those at Cars and Coffee. I love it.
You don't see many of those at Cars and Coffee, that's for sure.
I love it.
A Honda S600, $38,000. What are people thinking?
Super fun.
Yeah, right. Okay.
800 cc's of pure high revving glory, Cameron. I understand 8,000 RPM from those little things, little convertible.
Yeah, well, I guess if you've got 40 grand to spend on a under 1 litre car, then go for it.
Yes, well, you know, it's about, as we all know, it's, you know, the joy of driving slow cars quickly is also, you know, also a bit of fun. And what a cool way to go down to the beach, although I think you barely fit your surfboard in.
You're certainly not taking an esky.
Still cool tech, though, a big tech overhead cam engine.
Also, Cliffy Chambers has written a bit of a piece on, I guess, cars to watch for this year. And, you know, there's some, you know, we've got a VNSS in there, we've got a Group A, I should say, rather, FJ45 Land Cruiser. There's some really interesting stuff in there, so guys, check that out. There's some surprises in there. There'll be people saying, well, you know, a couple of those are a no-brainer, but the reality is some of those cars have actually dipped quite a bit in the last 12 or 18 months. So
yeah, well, we have seen the market has been, you know, it's still been tradable, but it's been a buyer's market for the last couple of years, we know that. I think it's starting to come back. I think all auction houses and dealers that I've spoken to over January had a pretty solid kick-off to the year.
Saving the best till last, we've had a massive sale overseas at Stuttgart. Very rare Mercedes W196 Streamliner wagon, which came out of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, and it's been sold for
85 million Australian dollars.
85 million Australian dollars.
It's actually a Grand Prix car.
Yeah.
Whew, what do you say? What do you say about that?
I don't know.
That's a whole nother stratosphere.
Yeah, no, I actually watched the auction, and it was incredible to see the bids going up in increments of 5 million euros at a time. So
it's still a long way to go to reach also another record held by Mercedes for the Gullwing.
230 million Aussie dollars for the 55 300 SLR. Pretty incredible money.
Down in third place, Ferrari 250 GTO is up in the 50 million Australian dollar mark. So just crazy numbers.
I got to tell you, I'd rather have a GTO than any of those Mercs.
We want you to tell us what's your understanding of the most expensive Australian car ever sold, and also the most expensive car ever sold in Australia. We're going to do some research, but we'd love to know what you guys think.
Yep, let us know in the comments below. That's it. You know, we've got a lot coming up in the next few weeks. Stay tuned. Thanks very much for your support, folks, and watching and listening, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.